annoyed right now. Says we're live.
We're live!
Yeah, I tweeted it out about 10 times. So if people don't show up, that's YouTube's fault.
I retweeted it.
I did it for my other account, so.
Oh, did you?
Well.
I can't tell if anybody's watching or not.
I can't tell either. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, they quit showing the little number down in the corner that tells you how many people's watching. You notice that?
Yeah, I just got the new YouTube Studio beta thing, and honestly, it sucks so bad. I hate it.
And you have it as public?
Yeah.
There's Aaron. He's in the house, giving us the.
And it's like that Wu-Tang thing or something that you're going to go see.
I totally want to go see that. Probably get shot up there and all that, but
hey, at least it will get you out of working out of Sears for a while.
What's this doing here?
Well, I have absolutely nothing about them as a band. I do have to say that the show Liquid Science on Netflix that has Giza from Wu-Tang Clan is actually a really interesting show, because in it he talks about how he's used science to kind of like shape his beliefs about the world and stuff. But it's interesting because he actually asks some really interesting questions and looks at some really interesting stuff that nobody else really does. It's actually kind of an interesting show. It's I think it's still up on Netflix. I kind of hope they make more episodes of it, because it was cool seeing somebody taking more of kind of like a interesting spin on science and what its meaning is to them and that sort of thing. It was cool.
Do yourself a favor and Google pinky ring. I'm not joking. Type that in Google right now. You've got to listen to that song. You'll be
I'll do it off the stream.
You will be hooked. Okay, that good shit in the beginning.
Oh, this was great. Did you see Emma's post on the GTech forum pretty much doing exactly what I've been ranting about for the beginning of time, with people going on the forum going, my printer doesn't work. Well, what printer is it? My printer doesn't work. What printer is it? My printer doesn't work. You know, like not getting any information. And then it's like, we can't help you. So I was happy that somebody finally high up was like, quit being stupid, give everybody the information, and they can maybe help you.
Yeah.
Like, that only took forever, but thank you. Thank you very, very much.
That's a new day. That post is long gone. Everybody will forget it ever happened. It'll be right back to what's wrong?
Oh gosh, no! I
like something like never mind.
I will say though, the only reason there's a legitimate reason why I've not come out with my A10M video yet is because I've still been fighting random y-axis layer shifting, and I think I finally found the problem thanks to Chuck's video where he was having the same issue on his Tornado. I think the problem is they just have the acceleration set too high, so when it goes to try and accelerate such a heavy bed with a big print on there, it's literally causing it to overshoot, and that's causing it to miss steps randomly. So I went in there and literally took it from like 1,000 as the base value for the acceleration for everything, dumped it down to 500, and it's working a whole lot better now. So I think I'm going to include that in the video as something that, look, this is a problem that I had. That even though I dropped my rapid speed to 60 millimeters a second, I was still getting random layer shifting issues here and there. The belt is tight, the carriage moves really good, blah blah blah. But I just think it's a case of the acceleration is too high.
I got this gut feeling that they pushed to put that Marlin 1.8 on there, and they forgot to reset everything in the firmware. I think they just uploaded the new firmware with the 1.8 and shipped it, and not even give any thought about E-steps or acceleration or any of the rest of it.
And it shows, because honestly, there's still people commenting on the forum saying, hey, look, if your machine is this machine or that machine, and it has this as your E-steps for the 10M, for the M series, that's wrong. It needs, if it's 340, it needs to be 430, and it's still being shipped that way. When Ashley got her A10, I told her, run a print or two and see how it goes, but I'll bet you it's going to be off. And sure enough, it was. So we just remotely did the old recalculate the E-steps, and sure enough, it was off by about 20% under extruding, which is frustrating that it's still doing that. So I'm going to include in the video, check your machine, because G-Tech doesn't seem to be fixing the problem. And it's only annoying to me just because they could have a really good machine, but they didn't put the time and effort into just spending a few extra minutes to double check that the E-steps are right, and maybe toning down the acceleration a little bit. I'd much rather have a machine that accelerates a little too slowly than one that accelerates too quickly and just goes like, and then just like loses steps all the time.
But like another more expensive machine. It's a mass-produced machine. So how many machines are sitting in a warehouse right now with the firmware already loaded on it? They're not going to reopen those boxes and reflash the firmware. Those units have been shipped to the different warehouses across the world and the country. They're not going to bring those back to go and reflash it.
No, but I am a little bit annoyed that they didn't put anything on like the product page saying, hey, look, if your machine has this as your E-steps, it needs to be changed to this. They never did anything like that on any of the machine pages on their website, which to me is a little bit, I mean, it's their prerogative. They do what they want, but to me it's just a little bit annoying that they, I mean, you have the forum, but it's not like it's on the website saying, hey, look, we screwed up, here's the problem, here's how to fix it. So,
by the way, Mr. Caro Science is in the house. I see Paul in there. How you doing? Mr. Caro Science say, did you ever show how to change steps, millimeters on the board? My printer has an issue like that. I have to change it every time I print.
I'm going to be working on.
He made it as complicated as he could.
Hey, I was just going to say. I was just going to say, I'm going to do a supplemental video of troubleshooting like the top most common problems with that machine. And I'm going to include in there how to set the E-steps using the dial.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that, because most of us don't like hooking our printers up to our computers, because that's what inkjet printers are for. That's what laser printers are for. That's not what a 3D printer is for. A 3D printer, you put it on the SD card, you put the SD card in the printer. That way, if your computer goes to sleep or there's a Windows update, you don't crash your print. These cables that come with these printers, these right here, you notice it's still in the bag. There's a reason why it's still in the bag. We don't want to take it out of the bag. To take this out of the bags means that we have failed.
It also means that you have way too many printers and way too many of those cables lying around.
And they're all in bags. One of these days I'll sell them on eBay.
No, and honestly, looking back at that video, I should have done it with the knob, but you know what? At the time, it just made the most sense. But you are right. It is better just to do it with the knob. The big thing is, though, is you have to do the store settings on your machine when you're done, because otherwise, if you don't do that, it just loses any information you put in there when you shut the machine off.
What? Theresa's in the house? How you doing, Theresa? Thank you for joining us. I take it that that Mr. Osmond is not streaming tonight.
So I'm working on this thing here, you know, and you see this right here, you know, this is the PP23.V bus, and then you see this right here. This is a really crappy soldering job from the factory, and oh my word, the wire completely fell off. And I need to use some Antec Flux that you can buy at store.cdebgroup.com. We're just gonna like drown this part in it, and then we're just gonna like solder it all together, and it's going to work just great.
No, you got to use authentic Antec flux. You remember, the bigger the blob, the better the job. Available now on store.rosmangroup.com.
I was doing a parody there, okay? Deal with it. But one thing I will say that I did get in the mail finally is the A10 hot-in for my A10M, so I can do what I'm calling the A10Y, which is going to have one of those Y splitters, so that way I can run two colors, two types of filament, one at a time. Because the reality is, I never use the mixing, and I'm going to cover it in the video. But the problem is, it never truly mixes in the head. So that's why, remember on your hairy lines when we did like the orange and blue one, how it looked like one side had more blue and one side had more orange?
Yeah.
That's because when it's coming out of the printer, it's literally doing it like a tube of Aquafresh toothpaste. You have the one color on one side and the one color on the other, and they aren't mixing in the nozzle. They aren't mixing in the hot end. They're literally just coming out 50-50 or 25-75 or whatever it is. They're just squirting out like that. So whichever side of the print you're on dictates whatever color is going to be dominant there. And that's kind of annoying.
Grr.
Hey, I'm just saying it like it is. So, I mean, it's not to say that the mixing head concept can't work for doing dual color prints. It's just, I don't know. For me, it's annoying. And also, if you have any problems with it, it is a nightmare to clean out.
Man. This is not for use on your PP bus.
Oh gosh. So do you guys want to hear a nice little rant from Really Annoyed C-Dub about the title of tonight's show?
We really don't, but I'm sure we're going to hear it anyway.
I didn't mean you. I meant all the happy people in the chat who really want to hear me get all cranky at people in the past who totally trashed things for me.
Go here. We want to hear your Linus type rant. Well, Linus.
Wait, did you see that? Really? I only watched like 3 minutes of it and was like, this is horrible. The Linus reads mean comments video.
I saw the title and I haven't had a chance to click on it. I'm going to click on it after the show.
I only got through about 3 minutes of it, and yeah, it was bad. I'm like, I just can't. No. So Mr. Carroll Science says, I saw the picture and really need context. Give me 1 second. I will link everybody to the picture in question. So if they want to look at it and cry along with me and then get really annoyed, you can do so.
Oh, God.
Give me a second
Nothing
here.
the bench grinder can't fix. Just take a little, you're done, man.
Yeah, I would, but the thing is, I'd probably get in trouble for doing that.
Oh, you would? Like in what you had to weld on?
The school is annoying. I'm going to leave it at that. No, so
I love the part where he tells me that the school told him, oh, well, there's a piece of particle board over there. Just lay that on there and you can weld on that.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Why don't we also put a can of gasoline underneath there as well? That way, you know, that you're not getting any sparks on the can because the can's underneath. Oh, there's fumes coming from the can? Really?
No, so here's the context of the photo, guys. And the welding hood that's in there, I set that there because I was going to go and weld, and I walked over to there and saw that and just got so irritated. I set my hood down and snapped the photo. But the point isn't that the welding hood is sitting there. It's that literally there is just stuff all over that workbench. And this is the very first part of the semester that anybody has touched that workbench. And I actually remember it having stuff on it last semester when we were doing our lab safety class thing near the end, because we went out to the metal shop where we're at right now. And honestly, I mean, the thing that annoys me about it though is the fact that it's like it took me 5 minutes to take all the clamps and crap that were on the top of the table, put them on the shelf underneath, take a broom, sweep the table off so you didn't have all the fire brick and welding splatter and grinding dust and all that garbage on there. It only took like 5 or 6 minutes to do all that, but the fact that the previous people couldn't take those few minutes to do that just really speaks to their lack of caring and understanding. And that's what really annoyed me about the whole thing. On top of the fact that the welding table literally looks like somebody went in there and was practicing like doing like tack welds on the thing. I mean, it's bad. And then like Jimmy said, it gets even better because the welding table, the only little corner we have is so bad. Our instructor's like, oh well, you could just build a jig out of like we're not talking particle board like OSB with the big chunks of wood in it. No, 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 no. We're talking the particle board that's effectively made with like paper pulp that if you scrape the edge, you get a whole bunch of like really flammable dust off of it. He's all like, oh, you can build a jig from that. And I'm thinking to myself, over my dead body, I'm building a jig out of that. Heck to the no. So I kind of worked around the crappiness on that table. But I mean, it's just like, this no. And then I was helping out a student teaching her MIG welding, and sure enough, when we were just doing light tack welding on there, we caught the wood on fire in one little spot. Not to mention all the nasty stuff being released by that particle board stuff when you're starting to scorch it, on top of the fact that it's getting all kinds of gunk into your weld, so it just looks like garbage. I'm like, this is a 4-year school. We should not be welding on pieces of flammable wood, releasing who knows what toxic crap into the air on top of the stuff we're breathing in. I mean, literally the whole area smelled like a campfire for like 10 minutes afterwards, despite the ventilation system, which is really powerful, running. It was pretty bad.
Why don't you tell us how you really feel?
Let me hit the mute button really quick and then tell you guys how I feel.
Man.
No, I mean, I sent a photo to you, I sent a photo to a couple of friends. I even put it up on my Facebook and tagged my old welding instructor in it. And he was just mortified. One of my other friends who was in the welding program with me was like, that's just disrespectful. I'm like, thank you. The point is, you're in somebody else's shop space, so try and leave it looking halfway decent. I mean,
that's the way the workbenches were in high school. That's what they look like. When I went to college for my welding certification, it wasn't like that. And you just take your grinder after you were done welding, and you just run over the table just to get rid of the slag and stuff that landed on it.
I mean, we would do that over at City College. We would just take an old, really coarse file and just scrape it across the top of the table to get rid of any slag and stuff, and it worked. But this one is literally, I mean, it would take a fair bit of grinding to get that table even remotely smooth.
Teresa just busted your pee-pee bus. You're not monetized. No need to mute.
I don't know. Honestly, I mean, have you guys seen that whole thing recently with YouTube starting to like limit ads and monetization on videos where they felt like the comments on it were not appropriate?
Oh, that's okay. So let me get this mindset correct. This mindset is if a video receives comments that are derogatory, hateful, nasty, or anything like that, rather than them ban the person who made the comment, let's punish the video and the video creator to teach them a lesson.
I mean, honestly,
I
it
honestly
just
believe it's the gun lobbyists that have actually infiltrated this whole platform, because that's the same mindset we always hear. It's like, oh, we'll just get rid of the guns. Let's not go after the people who are the bad ones. Let's get rid of all of them. And so YouTube's mindset is, oh, well, yeah, that video got bad comments. Oh, look at that death threat. Oh my God. You know what? Delete that video. Let's demonetize that video. Let's go ahead and cancel all the comments on that video, because that was just horrible what that person wrote.
oh, I know.
Oh goodness.
No, I mean the thing that's frustrating about it though is it's not our fault that you will put up a good video and then people think it's a great idea just to go in there and start posting a bunch of trash comments on it. I mean, that's not our fault. People decide to do that. But, you know, that's just the way it is. That's the reality of it. And some of us can't keep up with, especially say your video goes viral.
Yeah.
No way in heck you're going to be able to keep up with all the comments.
No.
But honestly, this is my thought on the whole thing. YouTube is hemorrhaging ad money because people keep going and other companies are pulling their content and they're putting it on their own streaming websites. Then all of a sudden, you know, they're going, well, if you meet these requirements, we will monetize you. But then we have so many rules underneath it that we're not going to pay you really piddly diddly. So you know what I mean?
Yeah, eventually it's going to go to where they're not going to pay any ad revenue to any of the channels. It's going to be just all for them. That's what it amounts to. Does it mean that when they demonetize a video that they don't play ads on that video? No, they still play ads on the video. It's just you don't get any of the ad revenue from it.
Or you maybe get, or it's kind of like streaming services. You get paid for every song, but you're being paid a fraction of a penny per play on that song. And I know artists who have posted up showing that, you know, at the end of the year, even though they'll get hundreds of thousands of listens on, say, Spotify or something, literally on their little tax stub thing, it will show all of like maybe $100 at the most. So they're getting paid, but they're getting paid so little per play that it's kind of pointless. But they're getting paid, so it's legal.
Right.
So
yeah, I feel really bad for channels like Jerry Barnacules, because he's had a problem with people pulling that garbage for a long time, and now this just gives them more ammunition to go after him. You know, they can be really hateful on his video just mainly to hurt him, and it's not right.
He's had issues with his content being pulled because enough people flagged it for no reason other than they were jealous.
Right. Yeah, I don't like what they're pulling on that.
Well, I mean, well, then you also look at what happened to Bitwit with his video about The Verge and him doing effectively a parody video, a video that is completely within fair use, completely protected under the copyright laws. And yet The Verge came along and said, oh, you can't do that, and struck his video off. And then H3H3 Productions actually sued The Verge and won in court, proving that they were in the right. And actually, I think they had to make The Verge or something pay for all their
Actually, it wasn't The Verge. It was a whole different guy. It's a guy that did this parkour, or whatever they call it. This guy was always like acting like he's some tough guy and a ladies' man and all that. And they did a parody or did some kind of a thing of his video. And he took exception to it. He sued them. They in turn countersued him. And when it finally went to court, they won, because it was considered fair use, because they didn't take and play the entire video and upload it as if it was their own video or anything like that. They were doing a reaction video to it. And so that's where, because there's already a court case with a decision that way that went toward fair use, that's the reason why The Verge had no legal leg to stand on, and YouTube had no legal leg to stand on because they were siding over the Verge in this case.
Yeah.
Automatically, of course, not because they sided with them. It was because of an auto takedown.
And that's the thing that's really frustrating is instead of putting something into kind of like a probationary period where it gets reviewed by an actual person who goes, oh, that's perfectly fine. It was just instant takedown, and it put a strike against Kyle's channel, which meant he couldn't live stream until the thing was rectified. And it was just like, it was, I mean, I feel like YouTube owes, and The Verge as well, owes Kyle a public apology on both of their channels saying, hey, look, we screwed up. We had no right to give anything in that situation. We're really sorry. Done.
Oh, they posted a thing about that. Okay, so first off, they went ahead and they pulled back the strike, so he's no longer has a strike against his channel on it, as far as I know that way. But in the statement, the person from The Verge never apologizes, says, "Oh, but it was their VPN that, or whatever they call those things. It was them that flagged it because of it found different parts of different people's videos that were using their copyrighted material, and so it was an auto thing on Facebook's part, or Twitter, or you know what I'm talking about, YouTube's part and all that. It was an auto thing, and it's like, no, it wasn't. It was his channel and one other one that they were critical of, and that was the ones they went after. They made it very clear. There's no going back on the fact that they messed up big time. I mean, yeah. Personally, I can't bring myself to play another person's video, and even to make fun of it or anything like that. I just can't bring myself to do that. I'm the firm believer of, if there's something I don't like, there's that excerpt in the corner, and I click it, because that's just the way I am. I just, yeah, I love that video that Kyle did. Okay, that was funny as it could be.
And but it was honestly, it was true.
I personally wouldn't do that.
Well, honestly, the other thing that really annoys me about The Verge's video is, where in the heck did they come up with that person who knew absolutely diddly squaddle about computer building? And as Jay said in his video from Jay's 2 cents, he even said, honestly, that video could be really, really damaging to people who don't know anything about computer building, and potentially even be a safety hazard. It's not like the video where Lyle builds a computer, which is done completely for humor.
And honestly, that's where I think that guy got that from. I honestly think that he watched that video and then produced that video as kind of a little joke type thing, but it really wasn't. They should have typed something in the title to make it sound like it was a joke, because I honestly think that's what it was. Because I mean, holding up stinking zip ties and calling them tweezers, I mean, I mess up a lot, but that's a pretty big mess up.
Yeah, but the thing is, they didn't. It's not like Kyle's video where you can just tell from the first 30 seconds this video is being done for humor. And I think he even says in the description disclaimer, this video is for humor. You know, there's nothing in there saying, look, this is being done as a parody, this is being done for humor. Do not attempt anything that we are showing in this video. It's completely for giggles and grins. The fact that they didn't do that, and knowing, quite honestly, and I hate to say this, how stupid people are these days, they will fall for literally anything. Look at how big the anti-vaxxer movement is getting over fake science, blah, 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 blah. You get what I mean? It's, what more can I say? People just don't think anymore. They don't double check with a couple other people on, how do I install a CPU? How do I put on thermal paste? They just see one person doing, it's like, really, that's not smart.
Like Rob said, hopefully my Swiss Army knife has a screwdriver. You do it with the hope.
It's like when I had to take apart my laptop because it wasn't working to try and diagnose it, you darn well believe I watched about 6 videos on YouTube just on how to take apart an Asus ROG laptop to make sure I wasn't going to do anything that was going to damage it. I didn't just trust one video. I was like, let me just watch a couple more videos just in case somebody covers the hidden screws somewhere that I didn't know about, or I need a special tool or something. Turns out it was easier than I thought. But the point is, I didn't just watch one video and be on my way. I made sure to watch a couple of videos to make sure that I had a firm understanding before I go taking apart my $1,500 laptop, which is the only computer I have, and I need it for school, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, and I'll tell you the one that grinds me more than any of this, and that's Linus. Okay, now it's not his fault. It's the service that he uses fault, because they are actually tagging and just claiming copyright strikes or copyright claims, not strikes, but claims, because of a benchmark that's playing that Jay's 2 Cents uses because it's a free one. Stinking Kyle, Paul's Hardware, you name them. All of these people use the same, was it Heaven benchmark? Every one of them use it. But because Linus uses it on his, suddenly that's considered copyright. And they're actually claiming copyrights on anybody who's using that on as a test bench. And that makes no sense to me. It's like, wait a minute, Linus doesn't own that content. I would think that you need to be able to prove that you own certain content, like, let's say music. Okay, I can go and play any tune I want as long as it's a original. It's not exactly like another song. I can take and play it myself. I can upload it to my videos, and I'm fine as long as it doesn't match another song. You know, it can somewhat sound like it, but as long as it's not identical to it, you're fine. That's the reason why you'll hear a lot of music where they've either sped it up or they've slowed it down because it changed it that little bit. But usually you have to have something showing, okay, I'm the one that created this. And, oh, wait a minute, that person just used my music. So therefore, I'm going to put a strike against them, or I'm going to put a copyright claim against them. Usually it doesn't have anything to do with the fact that, oh, I don't have any part of this company that created this benchmark. Let's go ahead and we're going to claim that as being ours. And honestly, that's where Linus should take a split with that company. He should not have any part of that company. He needs to make that company reverse everything and not just do the, oh, well, I don't know. You know, I'm not really to blame. I'm just an innocent victim right here. That's what I am.
No, I'm 1,000% with you on that one. I mean, the whole thing anymore. It's not like copyright is I'm taking and I'm uploading, say, a full episode of Scrap Heap Challenge to YouTube, and then the RDF Productions, which did it, comes along and goes, yo, that's our content, take it down. YouTube takes it down, and it's a legitimate strike. The problem is people are now just literally using it as a tool to just knock down other people's videos because they're jealous about it being more popular or something like that. And it's really, 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 really quite scary that it's now gotten to the point where anybody can claim anything about a video, and before there's any kind of review to make sure that the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, DMCA, which if you file a wrong claim and it is proven in court, you can actually go to jail over it. It's that, I mean, it's like signing an affidavit. It's a legal binding thing stating that I own the rights to this content that's being used illegally. And if you abuse it and you're caught, there are huge legal ramifications, kind of like filing a false police report or filing a fake insurance claim. I mean, it's a very, very serious thing. But I think the problem is there's so much ambiguity in it. People just don't have any, they just run hog wild with it because there's no control over it. they're like, oh, I can just get away with it and just go around striking other people to try and knock them down so they can try and climb up, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And it's really, really scary for us content creators and just really anybody, because anybody now can claim to own something that they have no rights to, but you get 3 strikes on your channel and you're effectively done.
It's like Rob was saying, the algorithm doesn't take fair use into account. And that's exactly right. He wants to know if we can copy strike PewDiePie. I'm sure he's been copyright striked enough times to where YouTube probably just ignores it on way because of PewDiePie, because that's their golden child right there.
Yeah. And I think also,
how many things has he done that's been questionable and they've never touched that one? Which I'm really surprised they even did anything about Logan Paul. That one shocked me. I figured that one was going to be the next golden boy that they weren't going to touch, but they ended up touching him finally. I can't say they touched him inappropriately, but they touched him.
Or the other thing is, what was I going to say?
About touching somebody?
No, I was going to say, or what about Grant from the King of Random, back when he had his whole legal issue thing that kind of just seems to have evaporated.
So of course it evaporated. They figured out how many tax dollars they were making off of him because he was making some pretty good money. So they're like, oh, you know what? I think we can let this one slide.
Yeah. And honestly, I mean, sometimes I will watch his videos and I don't want to seem like I'm hating on Grant, but it's like, I'll never forget when they did this really weird video where it's like Grant is sitting there and he literally looks like his wife is having his mother-in-law off camera, like pointing a loaded double-barrel shotgun at the guy, and he just has this deer in the headlights look as he's like trying to say how much he loves doing YouTube and whatnot, yada yada yada. And his wife's like trying to just like cheer him up the whole time. And the guy just looks like he wants to just like crawl under a rock and never make a video again. And I'm like, who's really doing this here? Because I don't want to sound like I'm hating on the guy, because when he first started, he was decent, and then it just kind of felt like someone else was trying to force him to keep doing the content. It just wasn't the same. But I do have to say, their new guy, Nate, that they've had for a while, he's actually really, really good. If they had him from the beginning, I think I would actually still be watching the channel.
Okay. Back when it was King of Random, the original one with Grant, I loved everything about that. I watched every episode he ever did because it was entertaining. He could tell it was original. He put all this thought into it, and he made a really nice video. And that's one thing is always scares me about when somebody gets big enough to where somebody else starts doing the video editing. And that's what started. All of a sudden he starts up the business aspect of it. Suddenly he's making content, but yet he's letting somebody else edit it. You can feel a difference in the video when that happens. And it's like, okay, well, it's still Grant, you know. Okay, I still like what he's doing, but you can just tell the cuts were a little bit different. Everything is a little bit different. And then it starts changing, you know. Now they've got Nate, which don't get me wrong, Nate's great. I love watching Nate. I love watching what he does. Now they've brought this lady on here, and I forget what her name is, but now it's turned more into, let's see what we can burn today. Let's see what we can blow up today. And it's like, you're not Mythbusters. You know this. Oh, look, what happens whenever we set fire to a cord? Oh, look. What happens if I take a glue stick and light it on fire? Oh, look. I've always wondered what happens if you lick a glue stick. You know, there's always something. It's like, what am I watching now? This is not the King of Random that I was enjoying whenever he was teaching you how to make this and how to make that and how to do this project and how to do that project. Now all of a sudden it's been what happens if we catch this on fire? Oh, wait a minute. What if we stick this in liquid nitrogen and hit it with a hammer? Oh, look, it breaks. And that's what it's turned into. It's turned into nothing but a joke at this point. Sorry, but man.
No, honestly though, I agree with you on that. And honestly, some of the stuff that he did on the show, like I really got turned off to his channel when he did the video of pulling out a perfectly fine car battery from their new car,
That
and
was
then
the
he and his
beginning of the end right there. That episode right there where he has his brother on there. They're going to take this battery apart and separate the lead from the acid, and it's like, why are you even doing this?
well, it's not even, and this is the thing that really annoyed, the things that really annoyed me were, one, why are you using a perfectly good car battery? Those things are easily $100 to $150 a piece, depending upon what you buy. And it wasn't a small car, and it wasn't a small car battery. It's not like the small one that's in my Honda, so it was really not cheap. Why are you disassembling it indoors where I can hear children in the background? I mean, sulfuric acid fumes are corrosive as heck. And not only is it not good to be breathing in an enclosed environment, it will corrode anything that the vapors hit.
Let's
In
not
that,
forget how explosive they are. Have you ever had a car battery blow up?
no,
I
and I pray
have.
God
And
not.
believe me, that's not fun when you get battery acid blown all over you. I
I'll
was
take your
charging
word
up
for
a deep cycle marine battery because I was going to go fishing the next day, and I had the trolling motor and all that. So I decided I was going to charge up the battery. I was taught by my dad to take the caps off the battery when you charge it, and that way it wouldn't blow up. What he didn't tell me is that you also make sure you unplug the battery charger before you go and you remove or you add on the positive or the negative. Because when it sparks, guess what happens if you have it inside a shop?
hydrogen.
Boom! The whole top of the battery shot right up, cut my ear as it went up. Just so happened, I kind of moved just a little bit. I had that little, you know, how you have that little gut reaction, something ain't right, and you start to turn. And by the time I went right up next to me, blew acid all over me. I ran to the house, got in the shower immediately, ended up cleaning up the blood a little bit. It didn't cut me really bad, but it cut me enough where it's like, I ain't doing that no more. And yet, here you got a guy inside of a house taking a car battery apart.
I know. And then the best part was, what the heck are you going to do with the acid? It's one, it's not very strong, and two, it's a combination of not only sulfuric acid but water, but probably some stabilizers and some lead, probably lead sulfide, lead oxide, all that crap. It's just like, dude, you're better off just buying sulfuric acid at the chemical supply store. Seriously, it's not rocket science. You can do that if you give them the proper documentation. You can buy a lot of stuff at the chemical supply store, but they do ask for proper documentation, so in case anything happens, they can trace it back to you.
Like
You
KK
know,
said, he watched the deal where he did that with the silly string. Yeah, don't do this to silly string. No, duh. It's flammable. It's got propellant that's going to make the stuff burn. And oh, what happens if we catch silly string on fire?
believe it or not, years ago they actually had to change the propellant formula in silly string to make it less flammable because they were having problems with people spraying it at parties over candles and actually catching fire on people. I kid you not.
I'm surprised they still have hairspray inside of cans because of the propellant.
Well, I mean, let's all go king of random here. I mean, this is my bottle of stuff that I use for my little torch right here. Oh, let's see what happens if we, oh yeah, let's spray this into
Oh,
something
let's
hot.
see. It's butane. I wonder what's going to happen if you add it to a match to it. Oh, it's going to burn, isn't it?
There's a reason why I use it in this guy, which is actually pretty nice. But yeah, you get my point. I mean, it's like the dude's not Underwriters Laboratories, and the experiments they are doing are just like, why? It's not like Mythbusters Jr., of which I know two of the kids on the show. I met them at Maker Faire. I've talked to one of the set people before. It's not like a show like that where there are layers and layers and layers and layers and layers of safety protocols in place that you see on and off camera. And even then, things don't always go according to plan. But they have safety protocols in place just to be safe. But it's like this dude's just like, oh yeah, let's just do stupid things outside. It's like, dude, no, just no. You're gonna give people the wrong impression. I don't care if you have a ton of safety stuff off camera. You got to show some of it on camera for people to actually go, I probably shouldn't be doing that, you know?
And let's face it, what is King of Random's #1 target audience?
Kids.
Exactly. That's the reason why you shouldn't be taking car batteries apart inside a house. It's the reason why you shouldn't be hacking up cans of stinking silly string. That's the reason why you shouldn't be making napalm bombs with stinking fire extinguishers. As it's a lot of stuff that I've watched lately on that channel. That's like, dude.
Well, as Ron said, it's like Jurassic Park kind of. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. Oh,
Yeah.
good gosh. So many episodes have had to can because of that.
I mean, just like we lit up the rubbing alcohol. We knew what we were kind of doing because we made sure it wasn't running off the metal or anything when we did it. We were playing,
Yeah,
but at the same time, we don't go overboard with the stuff we do. You know, we don't go and say, "Oh, children, this is how you do."
I think right afterwards I gave a very stern never, ever, ever attempt this at home warning in there. So it's not like we just did it and giggled and killed the stream. I mean, we were very serious, like never, ever,
Yeah,
ever.
don't ever do this at home. But
Well, also it should be noted that we had a kerosene heater running right nearby. Probably not the greatest idea, but the heck with it. Nobody's died yet.
but we're also not making napalm. It's like, really? Oh, goodness. Looks like BV3D is taking off. I think Ron was taking off too.
I gotta run. I'm getting tired.
Yeah, I gotta get up early. I gotta get up 5:30 in the morning, and I gotta drive to Stockton. It's gonna be fun. I say that. I say that better. It's gonna be fun. Hey, you ready to kill it then?
What was it?
I say, you ready to kill it?
Yeah, I'm crashing really fast here.
Okay. Well, guys, thank you very much for joining us, and catch us next week on what, my channel?
Yep, your channel will figure out scheduling because of everything and go from there.
Sounds good. Have a good one.
Bye.